What's up, seniors? How you guys doing? So, if you are a freshman or a sophomore, you need to not watch this video. You need to go and see your own class-specific video. So, my seniors, we're reading Hamlet right now. Hamlet is probably one of my favorite plays of all time. Because it kind of shows the amazing angsty teenage anger that Shakespeare had, that I still have, that you all probably are victim to every once in a while. So I just wanted to kind of touch base with you guys. I wanted to make this video so anybody who is still confused, I know I had a couple of people telling me like, oh, I'm not exactly sure how to get this or anything like that. So my goal is to make it as painless as possible for you. So one of the ways that I did that for you is I posted two things, actually. The first one is what's called No Fear Shakespeare, which is a wonderful tool that I used in college that I've tried to use as much as I can if the Shakespeare language is a little bit difficult and things like that. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that this PDF is open. You need to make sure that that guy is, available to you just in case you are, confused about some Shakespeare language and whatnot. It also has a lot of these awesome, I don't know if you guys could tell, but it gives you some history, or not history, but a background about the different characters and whatnot. It's pretty cool. When you go down a little bit further, on the left-hand side, they give you that old Shakespeare language, that thee, thus, thou stuff. And then on the right side, they give us the modern translation, and that's usually where I like to go from because, the Shakespeare language is beautiful and it's wonderful, but I think it's important for us right now to make sure that we understand what's going on in the story. So the second thing that I also posted on there is a video. And these videos I found, they're pretty awesome. It's like somebody animated the first scene a little bit and kind of explains what's going on. So if you haven't checked that out, it's I think I posted the video inside your Google Classroom. So check it out, okay? If you haven't done your homework yet, or if you haven't gotten your classwork done yet, remember all your class grades go in Sunday night. So if you want to avoid getting zeros, I would make sure to get them in before Sunday. Also, keep in mind the different deadlines that I have. So anything that I post will be due either that midnight or the next midnight, the next day. So I would say please make sure that you are aware of those. So right now, I just want to go over Act 1, Scene 1 of Hamlet with you guys, just to make sure that everybody understands what's going on and different things like that. So if you can, please open that PDF if you're following along. If not, just listen. On page 4, I believe, is the start of it. Yeah, 4. It says modern text on the right-hand side. We have Bernardo and Francisco. Those are two guards. These are guys that guard the castle in Denmark. So this is where this place, where the play takes place, is in Denmark. So there's a king and whatnot. So we start off with two guards at the castle, just talking, having a conversation. Francisco is saying yo, it's a really quiet night, all that other stuff. And then all of a sudden, two gentlemen come towards them. It's towards midnight, so it's pretty late. And two guys come up to the guards, which is kind of, if you're a guard at a castle, you're always on alert, right? So they come up. It is these guys named Horatio and Marcellus. Now, Horatio is like a scholar. He's a pretty smart dude. He's a guy who went to college and stuff like that, whereas these other guys are kind of they're not noblemen. They're more like, just the soldiers and whatnot. So Francisco and Bernardo are talking a little bit, and they're talking about, how there was a ghost that appeared one night, and they called upon Horatio to come and try to see the ghost, so that they're not crazy. So Francisco is relieved of his duty. Marcellus comes in, and Marcellus is there, and they're just kind of talking, and they're like, yo, what did you see? He's saying oh, I thought I saw, a ghost. I don't know exactly who it was. So then Bernardo is like, I haven't seen anything. Marcellus says Horatio says we're imagining it and won't let himself believe anything, that this horrible thing that we have seen twice now. That's why I begged him to come to our shift tonight so that if the ghost appears, he'll be able to see and speak to it. Horatio's like, yo, you're crazy. This is nonsense. But guess what happens? The ghost appears. Oh, no, that's not a ghost. Ooh, right? The ghost appears. The ghost shows up. Marcellus is like, yo, look, shh, quiet. It comes again. Bernardo says, look, it looks just like the dead king. So now the ghost is not just a ghost, it's the ghost of the dead king of Denmark. Pretty important, I would think, right? So Marcellus to Horatio says, you're well-educated, Horatio, say something to it. Bernardo says, doesn't he look like the king, Horatio? Horatio says, very much so. It's terrifying. So then Marcellus says, or Horatio tries to get it to speak. So he goes and he says, what are you, that you walk out so late at night looking like the dead king of Denmark when he was dressed for battle? So he was wearing armor and stuff like that. It says, by God, I order you, speak. Marcellus says, yo, you're offending it. Like, yo, you're making it mad. Horatio's like, no, stay, speak. I order you to speak. But then the ghost disappears and he exits. So he doesn't say anything. He's just there. And now Horatio's like, this is real. Like, we should call up the Ghostbusters or something like that because I was not expecting this to happen, right? Horatio says, I swear to God, if I hadn't seen this with my own eyes, I would have never believed it. Marcellus says, doesn't it look like the king? Horatio says, yes. As much as you look like yourself, the king was wearing that exact armor when he fought the king of Norway. Marcellus says it happened like this twice before. This isn't just a coincidence. This is something that's happening. I don't know what he wants or what he's doing it or what his end game is, but he is here to tell us something. I don't know what it is. We don't know what it is. We don't know if he can speak. But it does seem that there is something going on. There is something amiss in Denmark, right? So Horatio then says, I can or at least describe the rumors, as you know. Our late king, whom we just now saw as a ghost, was the great rival of this guy named King Fortinbras. He was king of Norway. Fortinbras dared him to a battle, and in that fight, our courageous Hamlet, or at least that's how we thought of him, killed old King Fortinbras, who, on the basis of a valid legal document, surrendered all of his territories along with his life to his conqueror. If our king had lost, he would have to do the same. But now, old Fortinbras' young son, also called Fortinbras, he is bold but unproven. He has gathered a bunch of thugs from the lawless outskirts of the country for some food. They're eager to take on the tough enterprise of securing the lands the elder Fortinbras lost. And as far as I understand, that's where we're posted here tonight. And there's such a commotion in Denmark lately. Bernardo says, I think that that's exactly right. That explains why the ghost of the late king would haunt us now, since he caused those wars. So they're trying to figure out why this ghost is here, right? Or what happened with it. But then, guess what happens? The ghost is definitely something to worry about. In the high and mighty Roman Empire, just before the Emperor Julius Caesar was assassinated, corpses rose out of their graves. Then, guess what? The ghost comes back. The ghost enters and reappears. Wait, look! It has come again. I'll meet it and see. I'll meet it if it's the last thing I do. Stay here, you hallucination. The ghost then spreads his arms, right? It says, if you have a voice or can make sound, speak to me. If there's any good deed or can do, I can do that will bring you peace and me honor, speak to me. If you have some secret knowledge of the country's sad fate, which might be avoided if we knew about it, then please speak. Or if you got some buried treasure somewhere, which they say often makes ghosts relentless, then tell us about it. Stay and speak. Then a rooster crows. Right? Marcellus says, should I strike it with my spear? So he's like, yo, he's not talking. Should I just hit him with the spear? It says, yes, if he doesn't stand still. Bernardo says, it's over there. Horatio says, there it is. And then the ghost exits again. This ghost is like teasing them almost, right? So then Marcellus says, it's gone. We were wrong to threaten it with violence. Bernardo says, it was about to say something, but then the rooster crowed. And then it acted startled, Horatio says, like a guilty person caught by the law. It says, I've heard that rooster awakens the god of day with trumpet-like crowing and makes all wandering ghosts, wherever they are, hurry back to their hiding places where we've seen proof. Then Horatio says, yes, I've heard the same thing and sort of believe it. But look, morning is breaking beyond the hill of the east, turning the sky red. Let's interrupt our watch and go tell young Hamlet. Hamlet is the son of the king of Denmark, the ghost, right? So they want to go and tell Hamlet, yo, we just saw your dad, the ghost, right? I'm sure this ghost that's so silent with us will speak to him. Don't you agree that we owe it to him to tell him about this out of duty and love? And Marcellus is like, let's do it. I know where we'll find him this morning. And then they go and exit. So this ghost kind of like causes this mayhem that's going on in the outside of the castle. And they're like, yo, let's go tell Hamlet, let's go tell Hammy, his son, the king's son, that we just saw his dad. And maybe the dad, the ghost, will speak to Hamlet, and we'll see what happens. Okay? So that's the end of the first scene in the first scene of Act 1. So if you haven't done so already, make sure that you read it. Make sure that you, type in your answers and whatnot into your docs. And try your best to make sure that you're understanding and keeping up with the reading and hitting those deadlines, okay? Again, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, you got to make sure that you are utilizing your resources. There is stuff, this story is famous. It's been talked about, written about, read millions and millions and millions of times among the world, right? So if you are having issues and you need to make sure that you are, watching videos, finding different explanations of what's happening in the scene, try your best to make sure that you are engaging with the text as much as you can. This is one of the best plays ever. So, it's been around for a long time. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. I'm going to post every day something for you guys to read and something for you guys to write. So please make sure that you're doing that. Please do your very best. Meet all the deadlines. Get everything in by Sunday. Seniors, it is crunch time for you guys. This sucks, this e-learning stuff. I know sometimes it sucks, but, you guys got to get the raw end of the deal. You're missing out on some certain things, but this is the end game. This is literally, you do the work, turn it in, do it to the best of your ability, you'll be okay. All right, so try your best. Make sure you're doing your stuff. Get it going. Have a nice rest of your day. Take care, guys.